everybody, welcome to another video. So today we're having a look at the Porphis PRD625. Now I'll put a link in the description. These are a fairly new gun, well certainly a new gun to me. I'll put a link in the description to an unboxing video I did to the 3 guns that I actually got from this company. They don't sell these things direct to the end user normally, as far as I know. So what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description. Again, there's a link in the description of the unboxing video of these things as well, but I'll put a link in the description. So if you want to contact the company and ask, because they basically make them for other people, so if you want to contact the company and ask them, you know, where you can get one from or whatever, then, you know, by all means feel free to. But I can't sort of like say, you know, sit here and say to you, I bought this from Spray Guns Direct and it cost me 250 quid. I can't say that because I didn't. I originally contacted them on Instagram probably about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, asking them if I could try a couple of their spray guns, because they I'd just run through it again quickly in case you haven't watched the original video. But they put or the lady actually puts videos on Instagram. Turns out she's their marketing manager anyway, but she puts videos on Instagram, and some of it is a quite technical video. So it's of them actually machining the parts and putting the spray guns together, which is the sort of thing that's right up my street. So I was quite intrigued by that, and they looked, you know, quite well made. They're all made in-house, etc. So I thought, well, yeah, they looked actually quite well made. So I contacted them, as I say, about, I don't know, 8-9 months ago, asking if I could if I could have one or two, you know, buy them. I didn't mean to. I did buy them. I'm not giving them, but just, you know, asking if I could buy one or two, and they said no. And the reason they said no, or the reason they gave that they said no, was because they're a manufacturer to supply, you know, you might want 500 spray guns made with your name. I don't know what. A4 spray services, or whatever you're called. You might want a quality spray gun with your name on the side, and that's what they do. They make them for other people, you see. So they said they wouldn't be able to supply me one. Anyway, cut a long story short, about 6 months later, she actually, because we followed each other on Instagram, she actually sent me a message and said, would you like to try some of our spray guns, because we've slightly changed our business model, and if you'd like to try some of our spray guns, then you can do. So I duly bought 3 spray guns. It was 2 she recommended. One of them was this one. One of them is one that's called a PRD715, and there was one that I'd spotted myself on their website. If you just put in Porphis spray guns into Google, you'll get their website, but I'll put a link in the description anyway. But if you look on their website, you'll see that they do a split tip gun, a 4 split tip gun. It's actually a side cup, which I don't mind. I quite like the side cups. It's a full size side cup gun, the R99 I think it's called, and I wanted one of those as well. So that's what I ended up getting. But if you look in the unboxing video, I'll go through all of the 3 of them and explain to you the differences. But this is concentrating on the PRD625. Now this gun, to me, again, it'll be in the unboxing video, but I couldn't physically see loads of physically in the spraying side of these 2 guns. The PRD 625, which is this one here, and the 715, they look quite different, but this thing seems to spray more or less the same. And I'm sure, apart from the markings, that the caps are actually the same. I can't see any physical differences, as I say, apart from the markings. Everything seems very, very similar. What is different is the form factor of this. It's actually quite small is the wrong word. It's slim gun. It's slimmed down, so the whole workings of it is slimmed down. The PRD 715, which I will get a video up of, I have got some footage of that being used. that's a more chunky affair. It feels very similar to a SATA or an ANI F200, that sort of size of gun, quite a big physical gun, although it's actually less weight than the SATA or the ANI. So they seem, you know, quite a well balanced gun. One of the things that I pointed out in the unboxing video, and I'll point out here because obviously it's very relevant to this gun here, is that they seem extremely well made. You know, I would be the first one with stuff from China, often from China, but sometimes I've had it from, you know, other places, sometimes from Italy and other places. You feel that the build quality is not really up to standard, and when you think about the price you paid, I think from memory I paid about 85 or 90 US dollars for this, and don't take that as a ballpark figure because it will depend where you got it from, it will depend on the exchange rate, it will depend on any import duties. I had to pay another £55 I think for my particular parcel, so it will depend where you are as to how much these things cost, but they're not your normal cheap Chinese guns, but by, you know, SATA or De Vilbis or Iwata standard, they're not expensive either, but they are definitely made very, very well. They're not quite up to Meiji standards, the Japanese Meiji brand, which is sort of, you know, my king of build, if that, you know, for want of a better word. But they're certainly, to me, they certainly seem up there with your De Vilbis, your SATAs, your Iwatas, etc. You know, Walcombs, whatever you want to name. They certainly seem up there build quality wise with that. I've had them now for probably 4 months, 4.5 months. I haven't used them loads, but I have used them a reasonable amount, cleaned them in a normal way and everything, and as you would expect really with a what I would call a new quality gun, no problems with them whatsoever. One thing they do, and a lot of painters will connect with what I'm saying when I say this, when you get a gun that feels good in the hand, is producing quite, well, really good results, it gives you, the painter, confidence, so they feel really, or you feel really at home with them. And yeah, I mean, I must admit I've thoroughly enjoyed using these. In fact, I've been looking at their website, and if they'll sell me some more, they make like a mini gun, which is available in 0.8 tip and a 1.0 tip. I think I'll get one of those. And they've also brought out a new, I think it's a similar version to like the PRD715 and this one, so a full-size gun, but it's more conventional in that with a lot of these guns, if you see the pot slightly leaking there, it's simply because it's actually the wrong pot. The pot I've got on there is for I think it's the Astro gun, and it's not quite on there, it's not quite sealing properly. But if I use the proper gun, which I have done, there's no problems at all, so don't think of that as a problem with the gun or the pot. It's just the way it is. Back to what I was saying, the new version they've got out is more conventional in that it doesn't have, well, not conventional if you're a SATA user, I suppose, but it doesn't have the fan adjuster on the side with a small knob. You know the normal knob that sits by your thumb. If you're right-handed, you're holding these guns, it's by your thumb. It's actually moved to what I would call a more normal position. The only reason I say that is because most guns are like it. The actual fan adjustment is at the back of the gun, on the top above the fluid adjustment. And they call it left-hand friendly, but it's just a way of moving the adjuster away. But I don't get the same problem with, I don't get the same problem with full-size SATAs, and I don't get the problem with any of these guns, these Porphis guns. Because the knob is actually higher, it doesn't seem to get in the way, and having the knob on the side seems quite convenient most of the time. But you'll either be used to that or you won't. It's no reflection on the the gun really. But what I found with this gun is it coming up, or what will be coming up, I did a car wing as well, just so that you can see what it's like for base coat, because with the bike parts I'm just doing clear coat, and then I'm doing a wing with base coat and clear coat. With the bike parts that we're doing now, I'm using Kapci 6030, which is it's still relatively cheap, but it's quite a good quality clear coat. Mainly because I wanted a really good quality job on these particular bike parts. But coming up, I've transferred to my normal U-pole 6080 for the, in fact I think it's 6081, which is slightly different. They call it a production clear. But it's slightly different, but it's probably more representative of, so that you can compare it really to other things that I do, because I often use the U-pole, and it doesn't flow out as well, so I feel it's a better test of a gun. So with this, when you see this in a minute, you'll see we take it outside when we've finished, and there's some sunlight, and you can see it in the sunlight. It produces a super flat finish. Now, some of that's helped by the fact that it's a really good clear coat, flows out really well. The weather was lovely. It was about 25 degrees when I sprayed this, so everything was nice and warm, and it was just easy to do. But if you look at the side of the tank in a minute, when we get to the side of the tank, you can see the flatness of finish. Now, I got this to work so well without even trying. So I'm really impressed with it. I mean, if you looked at the last video I did, which was the N-Tools 4000, I was super impressed with that because it gave a very good finish, and it's very cheap. This isn't so cheap, but it's actually an even better finish. Superb quality guns. As I say, I'm thinking of getting, if they will sell me them, I'm thinking of asking them for a couple of other guns, because everything seems to be made really well. The new gun they've brought out actually has removed the sealing ring. It's not the same on this one, but on the PRD715 that I've got, they use like a ring like they do on the Sartor and some of the DeVilbiss guns, a small nylon ring in the bottom, and they've removed that on the new what they call left-hand friendly gun. They've removed that, so it's just purely a taper fit on the tip, which again is another good thing. It's something you don't have to think about replacing, because as long as you look after it and keep the surfaces clean, it's never going to leak. But hopefully you can see here that it's produced a super flat finish without any effort at all. Yeah, thoroughly impressed with the thing, and it is so nice to use as well. And I'm sure it will give good lifespan. I can't say for sure because I just haven't had them long enough or give them enough use, but they certainly seem very well made. You see the size of the fan there, which is about 11 and a half inches, something like that. Yeah, it's a good size fan. Definitely an eye pattern, but a nice bit of wetness to it. They say that it flows about 215 millilitres a minute, which is up there with the Kiwami 4, which I think off my head is about 230 millilitres a minute. So it's right up there flow wise with the big boys. The 1.3, they do make it in a 1.4. They also make it in HVLP. And I can't remember what the other cap's called, but it's not called a PRD625. It's called a 628 and a 629 or something. Hopefully you can see that the quality of finish is superb. Yellow's not the ideal colour, but I mean this stuff came out really well, and I'm glad it did, because it's a particular project I've been doing for a while, and I just want it to be really nice, and it is really nice. What you see now is completely off the gun. Nothing's been polished or anything. I try and leave it a couple of days for you to see it, so that you can, any initial dye back will go. But the Kapci clear coat is actually very good. You don't get hardly any dye back with it at all, and that's with a fast hardener, although I would recommend extra fast most of the time. But this time of year, I was going to say this time of year, not this time of year, but the time of year this was done, The fast works absolutely fine. It's more like a normal speed hardener in most other clear coat kits. So we move on to the wing now. Now, obviously we're doing base coat, but I was equally impressed with the way it did base coat. I mean, if I sound a little bit excited about this, it feels to me like a bit of a find, because I mean I've just bought a SATA CC tip set, a 1.3i CC tip set, and I got it off eBay, and I got it reasonably cheap, brand new. I got it reasonably cheap, but I could still buy sort of 2 and a bit of these for the price I paid for that tip set. And there's no kidding you, the tips in this and the cap in this is, in my opinion, and I realise there'll be people that doubt me, made as well. You know, the quality of engineering finishes is good. The tips on this, again, if you look in the unboxing video, I've taken these tips off now probably 35, 40 times. And the quality, the hardness of the metal is absolutely superb, because there's no spanner marks, no slight rounding or anything where you can get. I mean, some of the De Vilbiss stuff is made like cheese sometimes, and some of the Iwata stuff. They're just, you know, for something that's supposed to be taken off regularly or very regularly, you know, that you would expect the metal to be harder so that it doesn't keep wearing the way it does. It doesn't affect the way it performs. It just looks a bit naff and rubbish, really. Whereas you don't get it with this. I mean, I've taken this thing off, as I say, 35 times, and it just looks exactly like new. I mean, with all fairness to SATA, actually, their spanners may be rubbish, but the quality of their tips is actually very, very good. But you would expect it, because you're paying a lot of money for their stuff. So, you know, I was very, very impressed with this for clear coat, and as you'll see for base coat, it actually makes the base coat come out really, really nice. You don't need to worry too much about base coat being super, super flat, but it does need to go on nice and even, so that, you know, if you're doing metallics or particular colours, you want a nice even spread with a nice even fan, so that you don't get any drier edges or anything that can give you any sort of mottling effect, or anything that make it look patchy or stripy, you know, because you can get like tiger stripes with them. But as I say, thoroughly impressed with them. It's a 1.5, it's an M5 by 1.5 thread. Sorry, M16 by 1.5 thread. But it's not like the W400, which is a male thread. It's a female thread. So what I did is I bought some adapters off AliExpress. Just brass adapters, so they're quite heavy, but you know, they don't make too much difference to the gun. Some brass adapters, so the brass adapters are 1.5 M16 by 1.5, and the internal thread is a 3/8 BSP, so it's the same as the De Vilbiss. So it enables me to now use all my De Vilbiss cups on all these Porphis ones. Well, the top cup guns anyway, not the side cup. So I can use my smaller one, my small cup. I've got a 100ml cup. I've got an aluminium one that I got from Japan, which is 400ml, normal 600ml, and anything De Vilbiss basically. So it just makes it the equivalent to De Vilbiss thread. So you can see the base coat here, how well it's laid, the base coat, and then coming up should be after the clear coat. But you can see it gives a nice even spread. It's quite a high metallic base coat. Lovely, lovely finish. And this is the clear coat finish. Hopefully you can get a good look at the gun. As I say, I'm sure this is the same cap, apart from the markings, as the PRD715. But really good finish with the U-pole clear, as I say, and not in such good conditions. about 18 degrees, I think it was, when this was done. So still, you know, reasonably good to paint in, but not quite as good as the other standard. But you can see super flat finish without even having to try. I used 2 bar all the time. I didn't open the fluid quite to full extent on the on any of the applications. I had it 2 out for the base coat and 2.5 out for the clear coat. 2 3/4 is full fluid, so it's not quite full fluid. I'm sure it would probably be fine for that, but I didn't feel the need to, because it was just performing superbly. So as I say, thoroughly impressed with it, highly recommended. Although where you buy it from, I haven't got a clue, but as I say, I'll put a link in the description, so if you want to contact them and ask them where you can buy them from, you know, maybe they have a distributor in your country. Anyway guys, as always, thanks for watching, and you keep watching them and I'll keep them coming even. And if you are enjoying the videos, maybe think about giving us a little subscription, because it just helps put us up the YouTube rankings. Cheers guys, once again, thanks a lot, bye bye.